Hi, this is Keir Finlow-Bates from ChainFrog, and today I'm going to show you how I can configure a Blockbinder installation to connect an existing database to a blockchain. What I'm going to use is a MySQL database management system, and we're looking at the details here now. And the database I'm going to share is the Northwind database, which is a sample database that Microsoft used to ship with Microsoft Access. When you sign up for a subscription to Blockbinder, you get an email and it contains a link that takes you to the installer, which is done through a web page. And here I have the client configuration pane, and it's checking that I've put in the right email address and that I have a valid license. So I'll just go ahead and click next. So the license has validated and it's managed to connect to the blockchain node in the cloud to check that that's there. And now I'm going to select that I'm using a MySQL system, and I'm going to provide a user account that allows me access to that database management system. Here I can select the database within the management system that I'm going to share, and as I said earlier, I'm going to share Northwind. Blockbinder is now analyzing the tables, and here we are. It's presenting me with a list of all the tables that I can choose to share. If I click here, I can share all of the tables, but for this example, I'm only going to share customers, employees, and employee privileges. I scroll down and click Next. On this pane, I can select who on the blockchain I want to share everything with. The default is to share all the tables with everybody, but you can also specify that particular tables are only to be shared between particular pairs or between the original creator of the blockchain and pairs. And notice here as well that an extra table has been dragged in, the privileges table, because there's a dependency in the employee privileges table, and it means that that table would have no meaning without the privileges. So for this, let's say I'm going to share employee privileges and privileges specifically with the people I specify, and I'm going to share customers and employees with everyone. Then I click Next. Finally, I'm presented with a license, and when I scroll to the bottom and accept it, the Blockbinder binding actually starts. So now Blockbinder is going through the tables one more time, and it's connecting to the blockchain, copying the data from those tables and synchronizing it to the blockchain in the cloud. This doesn't take very long. For a full database, it might take a few minutes. Here it should take less than a minute. You can see the tables being bound one by one, and we're done. So now we'll move on to the next stage, which is, given that Blockbinder is now configured and connected to a blockchain, we can actually monitor what is going on. So we're now in a second separate application, the Blockbinder monitor, and you can see on the first pane that the status is looking good. The client is running, it's connected to the database, and the client is also connected to a local blockchain node running on my machine next to my database, and that node has successfully connected to the blockchain network in the cloud. If I click on blockchain, I'm presented with a visualizer that shows me the actual blocks of the blockchain arriving. This allows you to see that you are actually using a blockchain, and it shows you in real time as the blocks arrive. Red blocks are blocks that contain database data, and black blocks are blocks that contain nothing. The reason why it adds extra empty blocks is part of the properties of blockchain, which is that as more blocks are added to the chain, earlier blocks get locked down and become harder and harder to tamper with until they effectively become tamper-proof. And in this pane, you can click on a particular block and actually see the data. And you'll notice it's all encrypted, so you actually get a couple of layers of security with the Blockbinder system. Firstly, it's a permissioned blockchain, which means that only people who are permitted to join the blockchain can see the data. However, if somebody managed to hack in to a blockchain node, they would then be faced with a second layer of protection, which is that all the data is encrypted. The monitor also contains a logs pane. This shows you the activities that your Blockbinder install has been conducting, and you can even submit logs to us if you see any problems there so that we can debug them. And then finally, in the last pane, it tells you the kind of license you're using, who you're registered to, what database system you're using and what port it's running on, the name of the database you've shared, and the user that has got permission to access that database. And a copy of the end user license is also included here. So that's basically the monitor up and running. And now it's up to you to start using the data that is now appearing in your local database in order to share data changes or analyze incoming data. I hope this has been informative. Thank you very much for your time.